now taking over your airwaves. In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the studios in the wrestling capital of the South, it's another terrific episode of The BENGEBUSTER Show. Please welcome your host, Tony Binge.
All right, everyone, welcome to The BENGEBUSTER Show. Back with you for another exciting edition. Right now, I want to bring on my co-host, cohort, co-conspirator, and tag team partner. I'm talking about rock and roll Chris Plano. Chris, what's going on?
Terrific, Tony. Thank you for having me back on. We got a loaded show tonight. I can't believe we're in the month of May. Temperatures are cranking up. Things are hot outside, and things are really hot in the professional wrestling industry.
Man, it just seems like every week you hear new rumors, more and more rumors taking off and picking up and all this good stuff. So it is insane, some of the things that's happening right now in the pro wrestling world, and we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. But before we do that, Chris, man, we got to catch up. I mean, it's been a minute since we've had a podcast. It's been a minute, just basically because of life and scheduling, and you've had a lot going on with your work and stuff. I've had a lot going on with my stuff, and it seems like, Chris, I know you and I talked about this a while ago. I said, Chris, I'm thinking about winding down my wrestling career, and it's like now I can't because I'm getting more bookings now than I've had in years. So, and I'm thankful for it, and I'm excited for it, and I'm just super excited about how things are shaping up and everything. So, really good news. So Chris, I'll tell you, this past Saturday, I was in Lenore, North Carolina for the NAWA extravaganza show they had there, and got to hang out with some of our good friends. I know some of your good friends as well. Probably the greatest tag team in the history of tag team wrestling, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson. They were live right there in Lenore, and I got to hang out with them for a little bit. Got to see my good friend Bill Eadie, Axe of Demolition, the Mass Superstar, whatever. Super nice guy. Got to hang out with him. And Chris, before I get more into that, I got to tell you a funny story. So a few weeks ago, a couple months ago now, I had to go and get my physical so that I could renew my South Carolina wrestling license. And so I'm in my doctor's office, and I've been seeing this doctor now for about 10 years since I've moved here in the Charlotte area. And so I tell him, I was like, I need to do my physical, and I need you to fill out this license so that I can get my my wrestling license. And he said, I've been your doctor for 10 years, and I've done these wrestling license for you for a while. He goes, it just dawned on me that we have a friend, a family friend, that is a professional wrestler too. And I was like, oh, cool. So I'm thinking it's, an independent guy or whatnot. It was Bill Eadie. So Bill Eadie is really good friends with him, my doctor. And so Saturday night when I saw Bill, I mentioned it to him. I said, hey, tell you how small this world is. And I told him, he's like, well, it's kind of funny. He goes, I'm going to go see that doctor Monday, so I'm going to have to tell him, hey, over the weekend I ran into one of your patients. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. So I thought that was really neat. And then I got to hang out with Nicola Roberts, or Baby Doll, as most people know her by. And me and her sit around and talked a little bit and talked about the her great career in Dallas, Texas, with Devon Eriks and Gino Hernandez, and of course Tully Blanchard, and then of course we talked about her husband now, who is also a good friend of mine, Chad Bird, and so it was a good night. Got to hang out with those guys, and not only them, but another good friend, George South. Hung out with George, and one of the coolest things, man, George walks up to me and he said, Tony, I'm still praying for you and your daughter and everybody and your family, and I pray for you guys every day. And I said, well, I really appreciate that, George. So thank you, George, for that. Appreciate that. And then I'm trying to think if I make sure I'm not leaving anything else out. Oh, and the Barbarian was there as well. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't seen Barb in a while, so I said hi to him. But Chris, the highlight of that night was the fact that a lot of people that that know me really well, my family members and people I went to school with will know this story. And Chris, you probably know this story, but I know our listeners at home don't. And I may have talked about this a couple of times on the podcast, but a lot of people wonder, what got me into pro wrestling, and it was easy. It was simple. The Rock and Roll Express got me into wrestling. When I was a little kid, man, 10, 12 years old, my dad's bringing me to the Greensboro Coliseum, and this is the coolest thing. So Saturday night, I get to sit and hang out with Ricky and Robert in the dressing room, and we're talking. So from when I was a kid, my dad used to bring me to the Greensboro Coliseum, and now a lot of people, my family members know this, but my dad was a very frugal man. He didn't believe in spending a lot of money. He just thought you need the bare necessities is all you needed. But when he bring me to these wrestling shows, Chris, I had to have a gimmick. I wanted to get a T-shirt or a picture or whatever. And I remember the very first time he ever took me on the main event of that show was Rock and Roll Express against the Midnight Express, and Rock and Roll Express against Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev. They had just won the belts from the Russians, and I guess this was like a rematch. Anyway, and so I get there, and they got all these T-shirts, and I tell my dad, I want to get this Rock and Roll Express T-shirt, and I'll still never forget this day. The T-shirts were $12. My dad's like, listen, these shirts cost more than the tickets that we bought, and I guess back then tickets were like $5 or $10 or whatever they were. And he's like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, Dad, come on, please, I gotta have me a Rock and Roll Express T-shirt. And he goes, well, I already bought you one. And of course, he bought me a bootleg rock and roll shirt from a local T-shirt shop in town. But they had these bandanas. They had it said Ricky and Robert Rock and Roll Express. So he bought me two of the bandanas. So I had a pink one. That night they only had two colors. They had a yellow one and pink. So I bought both of them. And over the years I'd gotten Ricky to sign it, but I never got Robert. So I bring that bandana in and I show it to Robert. I'm like, Robert, could you sign this for me? And he don't say yes. Instead he says, Tony, can I please have this bandana? I was like, come on. I'm like, Robert, come on, brother. No. I've had this thing since 1986, 85. And he's like, Tony, you don't understand, man. He said, I don't have any of these. And it would be so great to have this. He goes, I'll sign it. I'm going to frame it, put it in my house. And he said, I really appreciate it if you let me have it. And he said, and I got some more bandanas coming from for the farewell tour. He goes, as soon as they come in, I'll give you one of those. And I'm like, all right, that's fair. I thought to myself, I got another one at home. It's no big deal, whatever. So, and then Ricky thanked me for it. He said, Tony, you don't understand, man. He said, we don't have a lot of stuff from the Crockett days. And so occasionally it's, somebody has something and let us have it. So he said, I promise I'll take good care of it for you. I said, okay. So I got to give Robert the bandana. And then I got to share with Robert, what got me into wrestling. And I told him, I said, watching you and Ricky, I said, I remember that night I came there and I saw you and Ricky trying to get to the ring and all the girls ripping your shirts off. And I looked at my dad and told my dad, I'm going to do that one day. I said, so thank you. Right. And so he said that was really cool. So it was neat hanging out with them. And he said, he thanked me for the bandana and he thanked me for sharing the story of me getting into wrestling. So had a good time with rock and roll. And then from there I was, drove back home and relaxed. And then I logged on to Facebook for a minute, looked and saw that Rock and Roll Chris Plano had a couple concerts last weekend. Chris, you'll tell the people about that?
Boy, well, great story about the Rock and Roll Express there, and Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Great memories. But probably it was true what they're saying. They lost a lot of their stuff along the way, or people took it from them, and they just never got some of that Crockett stuff back. So good stuff there, Tony. Yeah, wow. What I did three concerts in 7 nights, right? Not this past Saturday. The one before went down to Billy Joel at Bank of America Stadium, and the man that was in the New York State of Mind, man, he could still do it at 72 up there. The piano man,
that's awesome.
Rocked out the stadium. I think he played 24, 25 songs, and brought back some memories there as a kid growing up. Outside of New York and Connecticut, and it was a bucket list. Probably will never see him again. It was a one-shot deal, and it was a great time. And then just 5 nights later, Journey and Toto came to town at the Spectrum Center, and Neil Schon on guitar still. I know it's not Steve Perry up there singing, but hey, they're still rapping the hits out. And Tony, I'm going to tell you, man, Toto, they put on a heck of a show, and boy, do they have some hits, man, as a band.
Yeah, they do. I love Toto.
I mean, they played Hold the Line, Rosanna, Africa. I won't, whatever that song is. They have a couple of huge radio hits that were slow songs that were huge in the 80s as well. And, wow, man, they really, they played a couple of Beatles cover songs as well. And, they played a hell of a show for a little over an hour before Journey came on. And, I didn't realize, they had so many hits in the catalog until you heard them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the 80s, I mean, I like music, but when I was a young kid growing up, the only music I'd ever listen to, it would have to be a song that was a wrestling theme song. I wasn't quite into music yet, like I was wrestling, but if there was a song out that a wrestler used, then I liked that, but. So I never really was into Toto other than hearing the song Africa on the radio 24/7, it seemed like, in the 80s. But fast forward, I get a little older and start getting more into music. And, dude, the first time I heard Hold the Line, I'm like, oh, my God, this song is freaking awesome. And so, and even to this day, it remains one of my favorites. So when I saw that you had went down to see them, I was so excited for you getting to go, and I was jealous that I didn't get to join you, but unfortunately I had bookings. I was booked with the PWF that weekend for Billy Joel, and then I was booked again the following weekend with the NAWA for the other one. So missed those concerts, but I can tell you something right now, Chris. The one concert I am not going to miss is the one that we've been waiting to see for 2 years coming. Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, and Joan Jett. I'm counting down every day, man, on my calendar. My wife came to me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, don't forget, we're going to Georgia the end of June." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm looking at the date, and I'm like, "Oh crap! The Motley Crue concert is also the end of June here in Charlotte, June 28th." Excuse me. So the cool thing is, I'm going to see Motley Crue on the 28th, and on the very next day, we leave to go to Georgia, and we're going to be down in Covington, and Atlanta area for the July. So,
perfect timing.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to go school here in Charlotte, or where I work at, the school area. Schools, the last day of school is, I think, June the 9th, and then June the 10th, we're loading up the car and we're going down to Cherry Grove and hang out at the beach for a week. And I'm gonna work on my suntan so that when I get to the Motley Crue concert, the end of the month, I'm going to be nice and tan and ready to rock and roll. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. And Tony, I'm going to tell you what, I really took advantage of the Billy Joel concert, not this past Saturday, the Saturday before, but then this past Saturday, I was back at Bank of America Stadium for yet another concert. It was Kenny Chesney and Dan and Shay, Old Dominion, and Carly Pierce. So I know the lay of the land of Bank of America Stadium now after 2 stadium shows there, and it was pretty much the same exact setup each Saturday night. And I'm going to guess Motley Crue is going to be somewhat of the same setup, might be a little different, but I definitely know the lay of the land now, and I think that's going to be a little bit of an advantage going into that particular show. That is the next concert there, I believe, at the stadium in late June. But I heard also and hey, Kenny's Destiny was great. I'll be honest with you, we missed Old Dominion and Carly Pierce. We were having a good time in the parking lot, if you know.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of were slow getting in, but hey, we thought it was definitely a different kind of show for me. But it was fun to go to. I did know a couple of songs. I will say I did not know the majority of them. But it was nice to see Charlotte alive, Uptown Charlotte alive, the stadium lights on, and, a lot of activity. But, Tony, if I'm not mistaken, I think I did hear today or yesterday that Motley's going back in the studio next week for some practice for the stadium tour.
Yes.
If I was reading correctly. So it seems like the bands are coming together because that tour is about to kick off here. And if they start on time within the next, 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. I heard that too. I saw that on Nikki Sixx's Instagram. He's getting ready, the guys are getting ready to get together next week and start rehearsals. Incidentally, tonight we're recording this podcast, and we're recording it on May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you. But cool thing is, we got to say happy birthday to, the greatest, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. It is, we gotta wish this happy birthday to Mick Mars of Motley Crue. Today is his 71st birthday. So make sure as the night winds down, make sure you go on there on Motley Crue's Facebook page or Twitter or wherever you see, follow them, and make sure we all wish Mr. Mick Mars a happy birthday. 71 years old, man, still out, or gonna be out rocking and rolling. And Chris, you touched on it a little bit ago earlier. You said Billy Joel was 70. Paul Stanley, Gene
72.
Simmons, 72,
Yeah.
right? Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, they're in their 70s, I believe, and they're still
Jagger,
tour. Jagger. I mean, I'm telling you something, Chris. People can say what they want to say about rock stars. But man, they're living a long time and they're still doing what they're doing. And speaking of 70s, did you happen to catch a glimpse? I think I shared it on my Facebook page, but a couple of weeks ago, Ric Flair was hanging out over at Jay Lethal's house, and they were in the ring working out. Looked like Ric Flair was having a 5-star match at 72 years old. Did you happen to, or 74 years old? Did you get a chance to catch that, Chris?
Yeah, I did. I did catch the clip of it, and it seemed like both guys are having a good time in the ring. They were doing a wide variety of moves, and obviously some of Flair's classics in the ring. And but hey, what the heck? You never know. Flair looked good. Lethal looked good. I mean, and they were using a smaller ring than normal than what you see on television. But hey, Flair could still go in the ring, not for very long if he was, but I don't know if I still want to step in the ring with them. He's still the dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah, for that's for sure. I think his career. He's the greatest for a reason, and I think now at 74 years old, he can still go in there and put on a match better than most guys that we see today. So great thing. Now, speaking of that, Chris, I want to touch base real fast before we get into the podcast tonight. But 2 weeks ago, the promoters there at PWF, they give me a call and they said, "Tone, we're going to need you, at the show this Saturday. Here's the deal. We're doing a fundraiser at this high school, and since it is a fundraiser, we want you to come in and work this. And I said, sure, I'll do whatever. I'll come in and do whatever you need me to do. And they said, well, we want you to get in the ring with a couple of high school coaches / teachers, and I want you to have a match with them. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And so I asked,
walk in the park.
Yeah, I get there and I'm like, okay, have these guys had any training? They says, well, no, because but they will as soon as you get in the ring with them. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I used to run a wrestling school. I trained a few guys, so let me get in there. So, Chris, I got in the ring with these two guys, and man, they really put their heart and soul, into making this match, and it was really good. But the cool thing was I got in the ring with them. I got there, a couple hours earlier than showtime, and worked out with these guys in the ring, Chris, for like 2 hours. And I taught them, some of the basics, taught them how to lock up, and taught them how to do body slams and all this kind of stuff, right, Chris? So we get in the ring. Me and my partner come out, and then the coaches come down, and dude, when they came out and they came into the ring, it was a huge, they got a huge pop. I mean, they really did. And I know, I mean, they're hometown boys, and we are wrestling at their school. So, why would they not? But let me tell you, those two teachers, Blake Barron and Pete Stone was their name. We get in the ring, Chris, and we lock up. My partner and one of the teachers there started the match out, and when they got in the ring and they locked up, all the students was probably expecting us to just kill them, and first thing they did was they body slam. They gave my partner a body slam, and Chris, you talk about a pop, man. That place went nuts. And but long story short, we got in the ring and we worked a good match. And when we got done, we had people in the back telling us that was like one of the best matches of the night. That the crowd was the loudest, which is saying a lot. And I was very proud of that because I've been in the wrestling business now almost 30 years. I've done everything in the business. I've been a promoter, manager, referee, wrestler, trainer, popcorn salesman. I mean, I've done it all, right?
Right.
But it was very fulfilling to me to know that just working with these guys in the ring for a couple hours before the show, they were able to come out, and the teachers' wives came up to me and said, "Hey, I really thought these guys had been wrestling for a long time." And then the principal came up and said, "How long have you guys been wrestling?" They said, "Tonight is our first match." So she was excited. But the coolest thing, Chris, one of the teachers came up to me and he thanked me for taking the time and teaching him, how to work. And he told me that match that he had with me and my partner was like the greatest moment of his life. He's like, aside of marrying my wife and my kids, having my kids, he's like, this was the greatest moment of my life, and I want to thank you for that. Now, me as a person, as a wrestler, that made me feel good because I felt like, I'm giving back. I help somebody, live out their childhood dream, because these guys may never wrestle again. It may be the only time. So for me to be able to help them have that moment, for me it was better than winning a championship belt, because I like putting smiles on people's faces and to see how happy that the teachers were, but not only that, but all the kids, because of course when they beat us, all the kids come in the ring and celebrate with them. So it was a good moment. So that was a great show. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Now,
man, that's great story, great stuff, Tony. And I'm sure the place was electric. The second they hit the ring, and I know you working the crowd.
Oh yeah,
everything else. It was. But hey, I'm sure if the PWF comes back there again, you never know. There could always be a rematch, and you might have to have something up your sleeve this time for these guys. And we're not going to take them so lightly the second time around.
Yeah, we're definitely not. Now, fast forward. It seems like, Chris, every time it's like the PWF has a show, and that show's good, and that show's big, and then they have another show, and that show's bigger, and then they have another show, and it's like every time they have a show, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I feel like PWF is really going to make an impact, or they've already have made an impact. But some of these other organizations around the Carolinas that are running these big shows, PWF's knocking on their doors, man. They're bringing in some big stars. Now, the next event coming up for the PWF is Saturday, May the 14th. It's taking place in York, South Carolina, at the York Comprehensive High School, right there on Alexander Love Highway. Doors are going to be open up at 5 p.m., bell time 7:30. Now, the cool thing about this show, Chris, is they've got some big stars, not just me, not just me, but we got some big stars coming on this show. Jerry the King Lawler, the voice of most of our childhood, but for me, it was his wrestling there in Mid-South that really got me hooked. But Jerry the King Lawler is going to be there and in action. Also, a good friend of ours, Handsome Jimmy, the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, he's going to be there in action. Mm-hmm. And guess who he's wrestling? Yours truly. So I'm excited about that. Boogie's bringing a couple guys with him, and I'm going to pick a couple guys with me. We're going to have a good 6-man tag. I think it's Jimmy Valiant and the Soul Patrol taking on me. And right now I'm not going to tell you who my partners are. I'm going to keep it a little secret. So you fans tune in next week to the Binge Buster Show to find out who my partners are going to be.
Well, Tony, I know you'll be ready for that 6-man tag. And, yeah, keep your partners under wrap. You want to keep the boogeyman guessing the whole night.
That's right.
Some mystery partners for you. But I know in the ring, if you get that tag or you're starting the match out, I know where your finger's pointing at.
Yep.
You're going to want him in the ring.
That's right. Teacher versus student, baby. Teacher versus student.
You owe him for the last couple of matches here, and you might get your payback in. York might get an entertaining match that evening more than they bargained for.
That's right. Me and the Boogie Woogie Man. And then from there, we got AEW stars, greatest tag team right now. The FTR, Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler are going to be there as well in tag team action. And in their corner, their manager for the night, this is really going to blow you away, Chris, the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley, is going to be there. 3 Faces of Foley is going to be right there in FTR's corner as they take on Master and Machine, another couple of young kids coming out of AEW. So great night of action. Before we talk about it anymore, I want to go to this interview I got right now with the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley, on his talking about his appearance here in the PWF.
Hello, York, South Carolina. It's the hardcore legend, Mick Foley, urging you to go over to PWFLIVE.com. Pick up tickets to the May 14th event at York Comprehensive High School. I got it. Not only will I be signing autographs there, but for the first time ever, I will be managing the FTR, the best tag team in the world, Tash and Dash. And now they got me on their side. I'll see you in York, South Carolina. Yeah!
I mean, Chris, I'm sitting here now listening to this. I'm getting goosebumps, man. This show or this event is going to be just tremendous. You definitely don't want to miss it. So make
They
sure
are
fans
pulling
get your
out-
tickets. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're pulling out all the stops. York Comprehensive High School going to be on fire May 14th. I mean, and I'm going to tell you right now, those guys taking on FTR, not only do you have FTR across the ring, you got the hardcore legend in their corner. I don't know if I'd want to, I think I'd be stepping out of the ropes and heading back to the locker room for the evening.
I'm telling you.
It at night. But hey, you know, it's going to be a great night. Boogie's on the show. I mean, so many stars coming to town. I mean, man, dollar for dollar, it's going to be your best form of entertainment. Get a picture with Mick Foley, get an autograph, talk to the Boogeyman, talk to yours truly, Tony. I know you'll be out there taking pictures. And, I mean, man, it's going to be a great night of wrestling right in your hometown, and you gotta support it.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this event there in York, South Carolina, it's just a small drive from anywhere in the Carolinas, Charlotte, Greensboro, Hickory area. Just get in your car, load the family, head down, but make sure you get there early, because I know this show or this event is definitely going to sell out. It's going to be jam packed, and I mean, PWF has got some huge stars on this show, and it's going to be like you said, Chris, on fire. Some of the matches already signed. Like I said, Master and Machine to take on FTR, and like I said, yours truly, Tony. Binge is teaming up. I got a couple partners, and we're going to be taking on Handsome Jimmy, the Boogie Woogie Man, Valiant, and Soul Patrol. And then there's tons more matches that are going to be announced in the next few weeks. And to find out what those matches are, you got to make sure you go follow the Patriotic Wrestling Federation on Facebook, and also if you want to get your tickets. Not if, but get your tickets at PWFLIVE.com. And if you go online right now, there are some discounted tickets available. And those tickets, I think, will only be available until the day of the show. And after that, you'll have to purchase your tickets probably at the door. If there's any left. I don't anticipate many being left, Chris. I anticipate this thing to sell out. This event is sponsored by the York Comprehensive High School. It is a fundraiser for this high school, and also, Chris, I believe I might be pulling double duty that night, as I believe there's a couple more teachers that want to try their hand.
Oh man!
So I believe I might be pulling a double duty that night. But then again, I might be bringing, I might have to give my good friend, the Golden Gladiator #3, a call and have him fill take my spot against those teachers, because I'm definitely going to be in there against Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant. So, but a great night of wrestling action, tons of matches still yet to be announced, but definitely you're going to come there, buy your ticket. Get in line, get your picture taken with the WWE Hall of Famers Jerry the King Lawler, Jimmy Valiant, and Mick Foley. All three of those guys are huge stars from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and not very often do you get a chance to come out and meet Mick Foley or Jerry the King Lawler, because they don't do a lot of these appearances. So when they do, make sure you get out there and check it out. So here's your opportunity to get out there and meet the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley, my trainer and good friend, Handsome Jimmy, the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, and Jerry the King Lawler. They will be there doing pictures and autographs, and as is FTR, which right now they're the hottest team on television. So not very often do you have the opportunity to sit down and talk to these huge stars. So this is your opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. Make sure that you go on PWFLIVE.com and pick up your tickets. Chris, Or what about you, man? Are you going to be there in my corner helping me fend off the Boogie Woogie man?
Might have to, Tony. Might have to hit this one on May 14th there. It sounds like you're going to have your hands full. Of course, you could get in the ring and grab the microphone and say, well, I'm going to whip up on these couple of teachers for a little warm-up match for you before you get the old man in the ring.
That's
you're going to slap him
hey,
around a little bit.
See,
you're going to break a little sweat first.
Right. See, this is why I need you to be my manager, so you can help me give me these thoughts here. But no, it's definitely going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, you're definitely going to have to, plot yourself accordingly if you do have double duty that evening. And, of course, you may want to take the teachers on first just to break a sweat, and then you focus on the boogeyman maybe versus the other way around. But we'll see how the lineup comes out that evening. But either way, I know you'll be ready for both matches, but definitely going to have to approach them both very differently as well. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a tremendous night of wrestling action for the whole family. The whole family can bring the family out and then enjoy all this great wrestling action here in York, South Carolina. So make sure you tune in next week as we discuss more in depth. I'm sure by next week I'll have a list of more matches that have been signed and will be signed. So it's definitely going to be great to come out to the PWF and hang out with all those legends, and of course it's going to be fun for me to beat up a legend. So make sure you get your tickets to come out and check that out, man. Chris, do you have anything else before we go off the air tonight?
No, Tony, it's been a great show. There's just so much happening, in the pro wrestling business and just in general, man. It's just wide open right now, and it's a great time to be a music fan right now. There's so many bands going out and tours and concerts. It's going to be a great year for 2022 for the music industry and the concert industry, and then of course for the pro wrestling industry. I mean, whether it's WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, with TNA wrestling in the indie independent league and scene, it's all on fire from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see how everything unfolds. But like you said, man, it's great. It's going to be a great time to be a wrestling fan, a rock and roll fan, and everything in between. So also, I'll tell all the fans too. Everyone that will that buys a ticket to the PWF Live and comes to the show, I'm going to be giving away free BengeBuster merch. I'm going to have a few things there to give away. So make sure that you show up to the PWF Live to get your free BengeBuster show merch. So I'm going to have some stuff there available at the PWF Live for first time ever, BengeBuster merchandise. So all that's going to be there as well May 14th there in York, South Carolina. Well, Chris, man, thank you for joining me this week, and we finally got back together and was able to put a little show together. Next week, fans, will have another show, and we'll talk more about the PWF. But next week, Chris and I are going to go into the vault, and we're going to bring something out. So make sure you tune in next week for that.
Absolutely, Tony. Looking forward to it. Next week will be on fire. You'll be just a few days away from the PWF show, and we'll have more scoop on the pro wrestling scene, the independent wrestling scene, and the music scene in general. And looking forward to it. And I appreciate all the fans for listening each and every week and being loyal and dedicated. And, hey, Tony, don't put nothing by him. The first guy at your table for that BengeBuster merch might be the Boogie Woogie man.
That's right.
Off your table. The match should start right there.
Right there at the gimmick table, man.
Right there at the gimmick table before the bell even rings.
I can hear Boogie now. Tony, baby. It's ball and sprawl and climb the wall. Old time Jubilee. Blood's going to flow like wine. I can hear him saying it now.
You never know what could happen.
You never know with the Boogie Woogie Man's in town. All right, fans.
That's right.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you next week here on the Binge Buster Show.
Thank you for listening to the Binge Buster Show. Make sure you like us on Facebook and download us on your favorite podcast platform.